So as far as how I got here to this space, it's been a journey. It's been a journey, a lot of hacking a little of this, a little of that for myself, and gathering and putting it together. But I've been rhyming since I was 12 years old. And so when we talk about environments and backgrounds, shout out to my brothers, the Juggernauts. They're actually my actual siblings. We have a family-based group together. And so I was exposed between my environment being the Bronx, younger growing up, seeing hip hop around me, hip hop outside the home, hip hop inside the home with my brothers, and what they were really learning and bringing in, just being older than me. That really influenced me heavily into who I was between them, and then going outside. I mean, Slick Rick being in the Bronx, and KRS, like that was just part of history and culture and environment. And so it created an affinity and a love for lyricism, for the music, for the sound. And eventually I just started developing my craft as a writer, as an MC, really young, but then it evolved over time. And I got involved with some projects, Lyricist Lounge, shout out to Lyricist Lounge, one of the major projects growing up that I became a part of for the first compilation. And then after that, an affiliation through my brother, he worked with Prince Paul, and on a project called The Prince Among Thieves that I was featured on for a song or two. And so I started just building, as we're talking about data and information and gathering things, I started gathering these different opportunities through the practice, through the craft, and it built who I was as an MC and who I wanted to be. And that was just those things. There was also being on, as we're talking about New York streets, Nuyorican Poets Cafe was a major place. It's also still very much a landmark for poetry and hip hop, being out there, other clubs, SOBs, and just being immersed in the culture and immersed in the environment. And so that was a big part of that. And then I got involved in education. My mother's a retired teacher. Both of my brothers are also teachers. And so it led me to this space of starting to consider, what does it look like to, instead of separating these entities of education and hip hop, but actually bringing them together. And through my relationship with Martha Diaz from a college course that I was teaching at Monroe College, a hip hop course, we actually aligned because of some things that were happening within the syllabus. And it was about timelines and research and data. And, I had students create their own timeline, and then Martha and I aligned because of the Universal Hip Hop Museum at that time. And we started writing curriculum and exploring curriculum between hip hop and education. And what does that look like? How does that narrative, how is it told through different lenses, through different art disciplines, whether it's emceeing, beat making, as Martha was speaking to, the idea of archiving as well. And then I've also taught hip hop internationally through a program called Next Level Meridian. It's in the Hip Hop Exchange Initiative that's connected or headed through the State Department, the US State Department, with affiliation and support through the State Department. And so I've been a cultural ambassador for them through the State Department, taking hip hop globally. And so I've taught hip hop emceeing in Peru. We just recently went out to Barbados this last summer, and I just got word that we'll be going to a new one. And Martha can even speak on the global level with another partnership that we're doing. So it's just the complete evolution and growth of one thing to another. And it's never a linear path as far as what gets us here. As your question was, how did you get here? It's always a roundabout way, some turns and hills and valleys and peaks. And but it's been a really amazing journey so far, and it continues to be a really exciting one. And it's led us here. So super excited to see where this goes now from this expansive platform.
It's so awesome. I have never heard of Next Level. That is so cool.
Very cool. Really great program.
Wow.
Like their 10th work, they're currently in their 10th year of doing the program. And there have been so many, I'm not sure the exact number of countries, but I would say easily about maybe 30 countries approximately that, this relationship, if not more, has connected with and is continuing to grow. So, and again, in this platform, this digital space, you're everywhere. So it's so interesting to see. Physically you're on ground, but through this space, this virtual space, you can touch people everywhere. And so it's really exciting. The level of expansion just keeps growing in connection.
Yes, it's amazing. It's super, super awesome. I really love that you've like, you know, that's I sort of you just spell all the myths, right? Your story, because it's true though, because like, you know, girls can't be MCs, and you know, and you know, also like you can't make a life out of hip hop, right? And
Right.
all of that, right? You're a professor about hip hop. You travel around the world, State Department about hip hop. Who
Hip
knows? The
hop
State
is
Department
known.
had a hip hop department. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's
Hip
really
hop.
you're a testament to so many things, right? That people don't think is true,
Yep.
right? And what can be done.
Absolutely. And again, through the Hip Hop Education Center, we'll be going to Rwanda. We'll be going to Africa in about a week. In about a week's time. Shout out to Jay Rawls, also a professor, doctor of education, and connected to hip hop as a producer. He's done quite a plethora of work. And so we'll be going out in the name of the Hip Hop Education Center and our relationship, a new relationship out there in Rwanda. So again, this global aspect of touching lives, and like you said, you know, hip hop starting in one space and then thinking what it's kind of surreal to think just how grand it's gotten and how it's continuing to grow. And again, that's why, Martha, before we're speaking about this idea of, or the reality rather, of archiving, and you know, made the connection between data, and it is that this is why it's so important, because now we're at the stage where we have to talk about preservation. We have to talk about its contemporary, you know, culture, in the sense that it's 50 years, but in another 50, 100, 150, without these archiving elements and documenting and organization of what is this? What is a bomber jacket? What is, you know, what are bamboo earrings? How does that relate to culture? And we talk about people marketing and selling things like, oh, that's from this, from,
All this
you
came
know,
from, yeah.
it's right. And
It's so
so,
funny. You'll watch I think I saw a commercial and they were playing this or that.
yes,
And I
yes.
was all like, oh my
I
God.
think
And
it's
that
I
was
think
like
it's a car
officially,
commercial. I think it's a car commercial, if I'm not
yeah.
mistaken.
And I
I
was
think
just
it's car.
all like, wow, this is
Listen, Black
okay.
Sheep. Who would have known Black Sheep then, when it was this or that? Would it be part of
I know.
an ad for a commercial for cars? You know, so
I
it's
know.
mind blowing in the best way.
In the best way. Yeah. Just shows you how much a culture we've influenced. It's really amazing.